Hey everybody, welcome to the SkyLounge, and we're here to preview some NHL action as we are just about a month away from the fucking start of the season. That's unbelievable. So, as we have that going on, let's just go ahead and preview the Western and Eastern Conference, who I think is going to be in the Stanley Cup, playoffs, and eventually who's going to be in the finals. So let's go ahead and take a look at the individual divisions, just real quick, and just a couple of things to say about each of them. So in the Pacific, I have San Jose winning. I think Edmonton is going to make a drastic change, not because of whatever depth changes they may have, or might have added whatever, but I think McDavid is going to get to the next level. And I said it in my previous video. I think Vegas is going to be third place in the Pacific. I don't think that's not bad compared to what they did last season. So that'll be pretty interesting. And I think the LA Kings, maybe signs of regression. I don't think they're going to be in the, they're not going to be top contention, but they're going to be a wild card spot in the Pacific. As for the bottom of the division, I know it's noticeable. Anaheim Ducks way in the bottom there. I don't trust them to be healthy. That's really it. Other teams, I think Calgary is just barely going to miss the playoffs. Arizona will continually improve. I think 2-3 seasons later, they might flourish. All those young pieces that you have in there, they might flourish. I don't know. Vancouver is just going to have a forgettable season. So let's move on to the Central Division here in the West. And I think, as the results here show, I do have Winnipeg, winning the Western Conference, and I honestly think they could potentially be President's Trophy winners. Maybe Toronto could contest them on that shit, but we'll have to see. But Winnipeg, I have them winning the Central Division, followed by Colorado, who is going to be following up with Nathan McKinnon's crazy ass season. Nashville, fucking third place. I don't think they're really going to get too far, which will be shown later in the playoff rounds. And for the St. Louis Blues, I think they're going to finally just barely edge in. Remember last season, it came down to literally the last fucking game. I think this season they are going to get into playoffs. They're not going to have a great time in the playoffs. Let's just say that for right now. And so let's take a look at the Atlantic Division. We have Toronto, who I think may have the best record in the NHL, possibly. Yes, we know defensively they're not that sound, but I think just based on their offense alone, I think it should offset it. But, who the hell knows in the playoffs if that's going to actually work out? It generally doesn't. But I think in the regular season, Toronto's going to have a stellar run. I think they're going to do some crazy shit offensively. Just point tallies is going to be unbelievable for these guys, I think. Tampa Bay, I feel like they're regular season winners, but they're going to flop in the fucking playoffs. Boston, hard-edged guys, I think they're going to make it. And Buffalo. For me, Buffalo has to be that team. Like, okay, you got Rasmus Dahlin, you have other pieces in there. They brought in that fucking player from Carolina. I forget his name. I know this is a fucking shit video. I know that shit, but it's okay because I think Buffalo's gonna make it, but they're gonna get their hearts destroyed in the playoffs, which we'll talk about again in a bit. Now we get into the interesting division, the Metropolitan Division. I think the Devils, with Taylor Hall, Hischier, I think they're going to do outstanding work over there. I think you got Grabner in there. I'm not 100% on that. Penguins, you got Sidney Crosby, man. What else am I really going to say about fucking Penguins? I got nothing but respect for the Penguins, and yeah, they're going to make it to the fucking playoffs. Guys, stop doubting this team. It's like any fucking good team. Whenever you see a good team, you always say, oh, they're not going to make it, like, getting old. No, it's fucking Sidney Crosby. I think he's going to do some fantastic work. As for the Washington Capitals, I think they are going to regress a little bit. I think the Stanley Cup hangover, maybe the literal hangover with the amount of fucking alcohol they're drinking, I think they might get pegged down a little bit. But, we'll have to see what they do in the playoffs. The Flyers is going to be an interesting one because I think when it comes down to for the Metropolitan Division, it will come down to the Flyers or the Islanders. Fighting for that last spot in the wild card, but I would edge it out to the Flyers just because they were there last season, right? I mean, and the experience might be there. They brought in James Van Riemsdyk, so who the fuck knows? I still think the Flyers will edge them out, and the whole feeling of the city right now is, wow, they just won the Super Bowl with the NFL team. I know, different sport, but the feeling of the city, it will carry on in the first month or two, I think. I really do think that, but I think the inconsistency that we've seen from the Flyers is going to show itself again. And so we'll have to see how that works out in the fucking playoffs. So when we take a look at the playoffs, I gotta stop shaking this fucking camera shit here. But I take a look at the playoffs. So we have all the seedings listed here. I'm a bit of a noob, so I have to really just do it like this in case I'm, trying to learn this shit. But any fucking ways, let's go ahead and take a look at the Western Conference playoffs, where I have Winnipeg sweeping the St. Louis Blues in the first round, Colorado Avalanche beating Nashville Predators 4-1, and this is why I think that. Nashville is still good. They have really good young talents, but I think Colorado will figure them out. I think their little run last season with all the injuries in the playoffs, I think it really undermined how really talented this team is. I think Colorado will be able to get over that hump against Nashville. As for San Jose and Los Angeles Kings, I still doubt San Jose's defense and goaltending in certain situations. So I think the Kings can nick off 2 wins, but eventually the Sharks will make it to the next round. As for the Vegas Golden Knights and the Oilers, if they get paired up in the way the seedings work, Jesus. Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights, I think it'll go down to a 7-game series, mainly because I think Edmonton's defense may just not do so hot. Whereas Vegas, I think we might still be missing that leader piece. I don't know. And I know this is coming from a fan, and so it's just an opinion, but I just don't think Vegas will have that oomph factor going into it in the playoffs. So just my opinion. Let's move on to the next round, where we got the Winnipeg Jets going against the Colorado Avalanche. 7-game series. I think the Jets will be able to fucking make it through, and I can guarantee you, if they make it to the playoffs, Connor Hellebuyck is going to play a big-ass fucking role. That kid learned so much from the last playoffs, and I think if he can continually develop the way he's been doing, it's going to be good. You got Laine, Scheifele, all these other fucking guys in the Jets that I think are going to be able to edge out the Avalanche. I think Colorado may come back to it the next playoff, in 2020. But I think the Jets, they can carry that momentum through. And you're gonna see, and this is coming from a Vegas guy, but you're gonna see a lot of Canadian teams I'm giving shout outs to right now. And so you have the San Jose Sharks versus the Edmonton Oilers. I think the Edmonton Oilers can edge out the Sharks in a 7-game series. You got the McDavid factor. I think the McDavid factor is huge, mainly because that dude is a 120-point guy. He's just unreal, unbelievable, athletic as fuck, right? So he'll get you there. But I think in the Western Conference Final, it's going to come down to the Jets. I think the Jets can finally get the monkey off their back and finally edge the opposition and go. And I know they were, I know. With the history of the Jets, they were only in the Western Conference Final for the first time last season, but I think the way Vegas beat them last season, I think the Jets still have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, so I think they're going to be able to just muster all the talent together and just get this shit done. I think they're going to be able to get this shit done. So let's move on to the Eastern Conference playoffs. And, if you've seen a little bit of that there, sorry for the spoilers. Trying to get this all here. There we go. So in the Eastern Conference playoffs, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs going against the Buffalo Sabres in a sweep. I think Toronto is going to be just fucking able to pound the fuck out of Buffalo, who I think are going to be lucky to be in the playoffs. And they will be able to build off of that. And so hopefully, and this is always opinions, right? But I think Toronto will be able to sweep the Sabres. And when you come down to the Tampa Bay Lightnings and the Boston Bruins, I think this is going to be a great rematch of last season. And I think the Boston Bruins are going to be able to fucking kick Tampa Bay's ass. I think Tampa Bay has proven to a lot of people that, yes, despite all the talent, they can't get it done in clutch time. They can't get it done in crucial moments, and I think it's going to show against the Boston Bruins, who I think will improve compared to last season, which was crazy because Boston was on a bit of a slump, and then I think probably after the first third of the season, they were just rocketing. So I think they can definitely carry that momentum through. And maybe be able to fucking edge out Tampa Bay. And when we take a look at the Devils versus the Flyers, I have the Devils kicking the Flyers' ass. I think the Flyers is going to be tired at this point in the season. I think the Devils, young guys, able to fucking edge these guys out and the Flyers. And the Pittsburgh Penguins And the Capitals. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have this fucking match again. And guess what, boys and girls? This is not going to end happy. This is not going to end happy. I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are definitely going to win this series 4-3. I just no. No. You know, I would say that the Capitals, as good as they look right now, there is going to be that hangover factor. I'm just saying right now, there's going to be that hangover factor. We don't know how everyone's going to react. You don't have the same head coach. You don't have the same pieces in that, and nor should you, because that's how salary caps work. You have to compensate proper players or players you think should be compensated, and you have to trade off and let players go. So I think the Washington Capitals, as good as they are going to be next season, and I can guarantee you they're going to be fantastic, I think they're going to lose to the Penguins in the playoffs. And when we continue to look at the playoffs, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs beating out the Boston Bruins, their hated rivals, in a 7-game series. 7 games. I think the addition of John Tavares, I think also with the continual growth and development of Austin Matthews, definitely can edge the Bruins out. Offense is going to have to show up. And hey, who the fuck knows? Maybe the Leafs can win 2 fucking games. All right, maybe 2 series in a playoff round. Who the fuck knows? Maybe we'll see some magical shit at this point. But the not so magical shit is right here. The Devils versus the Penguins. I think the Penguins are just gonna be, if they can edge out the Capitals, I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, which I have them going at against the Toronto Maple Leafs, 4-2. And I know, boys and girls, it's so sad because when we take a look at the Final Four, for in my opinion, 3 Canadian teams, 1 team in Pittsburgh in America, right? And I have Pittsburgh winning 4-3 against Winnipeg. And that's just my opinion. I think Sidney Crosby is going to get his final. I think this might be maybe one of his last fucking cups. I don't know, man. I have a weird feeling. I have this weird fucking feeling that for the 2018-19 season, the Pittsburgh Penguins might be your Stanley Cup final winner. But let me know what you guys think. Follow me at the Sky Lounge. Follow all the links in the description below. Comment, subscribe for more daily content like this shit. Now fuck off.